What's up, amazing and beautiful souls? So we have some latest news from Botswana. Remember yesterday I told you that the president of Botswana, Duma Boko, is actually following the footsteps of Ibrahim Traore. And guess what? Today he actually held a briefing and he talked about a couple of things that he's going to cut. So can we listen to these videos and then we come back later and analyze them? Okay, so let us jump in.
A minister travels, he travels or she travels with a whole battalion of people. Let me tell you this about myself. And I saw this when I was a member of parliament. You get a whole liver arch file of documents, properly annotated. Everything is explained. Pickup time is this. You're going to be picked up at this time. Then you go to the airport. Then they say there's a briefing session. What? Briefing. Briefing on what? No, on the trip. What trip? No, the one you're going. I say, oh, okay, I go there and I listen. And they take me over what they already have given. I don't know whether the assumption is that, or maybe in your experience, the folks that you were dealing with never read. I read these things. I do. Thoroughly. I read. I familiarize myself intimately with every part of it. So when you call me and you want to brief me, I sit there exasperated. What are you saying? It's there already. Don't waste your time. Your own time. You should be using it to achieve outcomes. You are coming to brief me. When you have already briefed me in written form, meticulously at that. So why are you briefing? So let's cut down on the culture of briefing people. If you've given the document, tell the person, put it in bold letters, this service of this document on you is underpinned by an assumption that it will be read. That's what you must do. So that you don't then consume your time. You don't consume your time coming to brief. Mr. Kue there and his team came to brief me. I said, what? No, we want to talk to you. No. You are consuming your time, valuable time that you could be using elsewhere, to come and teach this ignorant man who can't read. I must read. If I can't read these things, then perhaps I have no reason to be sitting here. So if we cut down on the briefings, especially if we've put where there's need for engagement, and when you come to brief, because I've read, let's get to the issues that require engagement. We focus on those. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you are off. Rather than spend the whole day with you taking me through stuff that you've presented to me anyway. That's the first one. The second is the number of people that travel. You have given me the documentation. I'm fine. I'll find my way. I don't need 20 people chaperoning me. No. The only part that I cannot cut down on is the security. When I tried, they pushed back and told me, this one is not your terrain. Sir, it is our job to protect you. Maybe they think I must be protected even from myself. So they say, no, this one, if anything happens to you, we will lose our jobs. And I backed off. But aside from them, others, let's be very clear and cut down. I don't have a problem traveling with one person or just alone. I don't have a problem with that, by the way. I'll find my way. But when you have a whole battalion of people traveling all the time, and then decisions can be taken because the permanent secretary is away. What is the permanent secretary doing? They're chaperoning the minister. And the minister is so daft, can't find, come on. If the minister runs into trouble, he can pause and call. What do we say about this one? But other than that, let's keep it tight, trim. So I think let's look at it at these things this way. I know it's unusual. I think, and some people feel disrespected when they don't have a whole entourage. All the time when I traveled when I was a member of parliament, and I told the officers, please. They would even want to carry my bags. I said, no, I carry my own bags. And I used to carry Matsirelezo's bags as well in the process. And write her speeches, because you guys will write, for somebody who is challenged in many respects, you write 25 pages. I would put it down to 2 pages, simplify it for her and say, Mati, take this. And she'll go there, she has 3 minutes to speak, she speaks, she comes back and says, "Ay, so sometimes you need to understand the person and just put these things down crisply for them so that they are able to internalize and speak. And even the speeches that people write, I see, you write speeches.
We were kept at the immigration area for 6 hours. After 3 hours, we asked, no water, no nothing. We asked to be taken to a cafeteria. And we were taken upstairs where there's a KFC. We bought ourselves something to eat. Then towards the tail end, 5 hours have passed, and we've already posted that we are there detained so the world knows. I get the Kenya Airways desk officer coming to us. They had earlier come to suggest that we pay to alter the schedule on our tickets so that we can return with the afternoon flight. Mind you, we landed at 9 a.m. The immigration people, after telling us we could not enter, regretted that the plane we had come with had just left. Therefore, we have to wait for the next. So Kenya Airways was sent to us to tell us to pay, and we told them, no, you are deporting us, you pay. So 1 hour to the being deported, the ambassador accredited to Tanzania by Kenya, Mr. Jenga, called me through the phone of the Kenya Airways desk officer. He comes talking on phone and tells me, madam, the ambassador wants to speak to you. After I learn it's the ambassador to Kenya, I speak to him. He says they are trying their best. I don't know what their best was, because after half an hour, the Kenya Airways officer comes back telling us our tickets are ready. And we are taken to migration. By then, we had already been taken by Tanzanian officials to the baggage area to collect our baggage, when there was nobody else and there was no flight coming. It was just the 3 of us being taken to pick our baggages to return to the inside, and they were locked up at a female cell. We were not locked up, we were not handcuffed. So the 3 of us were there conversing. That's why we could afford a smile. The only torture is psychological, because make no mistake about it, we were under arrest but not handcuffed, because we could not move freely. So we were detained at the airport and then deported. Our passports were held until they gave us at the gate. And when going through immigration, we noticed they were writing something and stamping. When I checked my passport after it was returned to me, it was written entry denied, yeah. Something like not allowed or denied. One of the two, yeah.
I hope you listened to all the videos, because as you can see, it's alter and alter. So the president of Botswana has said that, you know what, when it comes to briefings, there is no need, because you have already presented a written brief. So why should you brief again verbally? Why should you do a presentation? And yet he knows how to read and, comprehend, understand on his own. He was like, why would you waste time to come tell me things that I can read, that I have them on paper? There is no need. So in short, this guy is like, I am a learned person. Guys, the president of Botswana is a lawyer, and he actually got this seat, or he was elected, not really like got. Many people believe that power is grabbed, power is not handed over. If you're a fan of politics, you learn so much about philosophy. So the guy was elected just a few months ago in November 2024, after 6 decades of one regime ruling Botswana. And now we have a young, vibrant man in Botswana. What he's actually thinking about is independence, independent mindset, and independent way of doing things. What is happening is he just likes how Ibrahim Traore works. And I believe that is what he's doing at the moment. So things to do with the briefing is like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. That belongs to the old people. That's what I think about his latest briefing from Botswana. So, my good people, another thing that he talked about is, the number of people that travel. So, let me tell you a story. Here in Kenya, when people are traveling, not really people, let me not say people, but when politicians are traveling, they travel, like so many of them. Or let me just talk about even organizations like sporting, what they normally do. I mean, one athlete can actually travel with like 60 or 70 government officials. It doesn't make sense, because it should have been the other way around. 60 athletes traveling with one leader. So, in short, I'm talking about the corruption that is taking place, because why the hell would an athlete travel with so many leaders or politicians, That's what happens. But if it doesn't happen in your country, then you are lucky, because corruption is something that is taking us backward. Because when corruption happens, it means that the money that was supposed to develop your country is gone to waste, gone to someone's pocket, instead of probably improving the healthcare facilities in your country. Constructing roads. That's why it should have gone. Construction of industries. This money that goes into corruption is meant for development of your country, my country, our country. Anyway, guys, Boko Duma, or Duma Boko, the president of Botswana, has said that there is no need of him traveling with like 60 people. Like, why the hell will he travel with so many people? And yet he's just comfortable traveling either alone or at least with one person. And of course, that is cutting costs on, the government expenses, because, these costs, they kind of go to waste, because people will be spending them in, hotels, personal use, things that is not benefiting the country or the people. And remember, these are taxpayers' money. It's nothing else. It's the taxpayers' money. So on my side, or according to me, I really support him for that. And having young presidents, I think, is the best thing that Africa needs at the moment. We don't need the old people that, have old ways of, governing a country. And we are seeing a lot of changes. Look at Mali. The president is so young. Look at Burkina Faso, the president so young. Look at Botswana, president so young. And also the president of Zambia, Nandi Ndaitwah. Okay, he's kind of old, but is actually she's a liberated woman, because she just wants the best for Africa, the best for Zambia. She's kind of encouraging, because you don't expect an older leader or president. Okay, I don't really know the exact age. Sorry, by the time of this video, I had not really researched about her age. Probably she's young, because yeah. Anyway, my good people, that was a good idea from the president of Botswana, Duma Boko, on the number of people that he wants to travel with. Okay, he just wants to cut expenses on, or misuse of taxpayers' money, because if he's going to meet or have a meeting anywhere, if he goes alone, the money spent on him, the fuel, food, and everything, will be much lesser than if he had traveled with a couple of so many people, or if he had traveled with other officials, and yet they are not even going to attend that meeting or have any contribution, or they're not going to impact on that meeting in a positive way. It's only him who is going to talk and probably seal a deal and all that, and the rest, they're just like, they're just like taking him to, giving him company, you know. So anyway, that was the best and the best. Written speeches, he has said, no, I don't want written speeches, you know. I have gone to school. No, like if you really want to write a speech, then just put them in point form and then let me go through it so that I can actually understand or just get to know what am I supposed to be talking about. Not like you write like a 25-page speech and then you bring it to me without me going through it, and you want me to read. And you know, most of the time when you just read these speeches, they end up, some parts end up really confusing. So about written speeches, like, no. And guys, you know, there is another leader from South Africa, Julius Malema. This guy, you can imagine that clip that was played by Donald Trump in State House, in White House, not really like State House, when Ramaphosa went to meet him there. And you know, this guy, I will say, is a real Pan-Africanist. I don't know why South Africans don't want to give him a chance, because this guy, he truly loves his country. You know, this guy actually is also Julius Malema. Let me not say this guy because you all know him. So Julius Malema is advocating for, you know, all African countries. I mean, these countries that are in the umbrella of Commonwealth. He needs you all to get out of that umbrella, because there is nothing common in that Commonwealth. The only thing common is that all of you belong, or all of you are a British colony. There is nothing else that you are getting from the Commonwealth. Same as to the United Nations. Arikana Chiombro always comes out and, you know, tells us about all this. Remember, she was there, she was working at the United Nations, and all she learned and experienced is that United Nations is not there for the interest of Africans, but for the interest of these other people. It's only that the African leaders are used as voting robots. You know, they are used to vote for their issues that is not even going to help us. But recently, saw somewhere that a leader in DRC Congo has been given a position, a security council position at the UN. Let's wait and see. But you know, one thing with the West, they normally take someone that they know they can control. And I don't know if you have actually heard about this story of Kenya, Uganda. You know, recently there are some activists, not really like activists, but lawyers from Kenya who are going to Tanzania. You know, they have a client there, and the client is the opposition leader in Tanzania. You know, the current president is kind of frustrating the opposition leaders. I think she doesn't want competition. That's what most of us believe, because, you know, she has actually banned that particular political party. And you know, I will say it's good to have competition and also give the citizens, I mean I will say it will be good that citizens in each and every country have the freedom to choose or elect a leader. Don't force yourself on your people, because at this point it feels like the president of Tanzania is forcing herself to the citizens, to Tanzanians, I will say. And you know, there are a couple of cases going on here and there. So this opposition leader in Tanzania called Tundu Lissu, he has a case in court because, you know, his political party is being, you know, put in a situation where they really want him to be locked out of, you know, running for presidential elections. And what happened, he hired a lawyer from Kenya called Martha Karua. When they went to Tanzania, you know, what happened? They were denied entry. So at least for the ladies, they weren't tortured. But again, we had men activists called Boniface Mwangi, who actually went there to capture the story and, you know, gets to know what's really happening. So they actually, I will say, they were abducted and bad things done to them. I really hope they will heal, because they appeared to be really traumatized, you know, because they already had an interview in the mainstream medias in Kenya. I don't know what you think about Tanzania, but I see videos here and there of people saying that, you know, East Africa is, you know, puppets of the West. And I don't know what to think about that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much if you watched the clip up to this point. I appreciate your presence. I love you to the moon and back. Subscribe.